Welcome to the Luxe Leap, where bold women turn ambition into action. I'm your host, Reland Logan, and together we'll explore the big moves, smart strategies, and extraordinary branding behind unstoppable businesses. So I have a question. What if showing up on camera didn't feel awkward, but aligned, effortless, and actually fun? Sara is the go-to coach for solo business owners ready to stop hiding and start shining as the face of their brand. With a background in corporate learning and a sharp eye for what makes content truly binge-worthy, she helps entrepreneurs go from dreading the lens to owning their spotlight. Through her video coaching business, Sara teaches her clients how to show up confidently, build real trust online, and attract their dream clients before the first sales call ever happens. If visibility has been your missing piece, this episode is your invitation to step in front of the camera and into your power. Please welcome the coach behind the confident on-camera glow-up, Sara Berry. Hey, Sara.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, I'm super excited to have you. We've had so much fun off recording. We've been on camera this whole time, and I am just kind of stoked to bring that to life here. But before we just head straight into all of it, gotta ask, just to give everybody some level playing field here, what inspired you to start your brand? And give us just like the brief, quick story, and then we'll dive into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, there's a lot of sides to it. So I'll go back. I'll try to keep it a short story, but we'll go all the way back to the corporate days. I always had a knack for creativity. I always felt too creative in corporate. But like I said, or like you mentioned, I was in corporate learning. So there's definitely creative aspects to that. And I feel like I always was wrapping my role on paper around who I am and what I want to be doing and what my creative abilities are. But I didn't really know what that was. And I think that's kind of the curse of a creative person, is what is the creative thing that I'm giving to the world? So when I left corporate, I was doing contracting. So basically the same things I was doing at a corporate job. And one day, one of my clients said, "Hey, can you film some motivational videos for us? We just want our salespeople to feel more motivated even when they're not in the office, and get the same messages they would get if they were on site." And I'm thinking, I'm not a videographer. I kind of freaked out because, back then, this was 2018, 2019, you kind of still had to be a videographer. TikTok hadn't had its moment yet. It wasn't this big wave where everybody was sort of self-creating videos yet. And so I had a little bit of a mini panic, but I realized that, through the pandemic and TikTok and all these other things, that it's not as hard as it has to be. And I think the one thing that was holding me back was that panic moment of, I'm not a videographer. I'm not this esteemed, thing that I was thinking in my mind. And fast forward to today, I feel like a lot of my clients feel the same way. They feel like they have to be good on camera, or they have to be a certain level, or, show up a certain way. And it's just not true. You just show up as yourself. And I try to help people with that.
That is absolutely beautiful. And I mean, it feels like we have had these things forever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And though we haven't, and Sara, let's kick it back to when we were children. Remember that Nokia with Snake that had no video?
Nice.
Yes. You remember those?
Yes, of course I do.
Well, that really wasn't that long ago in hindsight, as
Right.
far as time goes. Not to date us, but we're clearly not dinosaurs. And just for you to be like, oh yeah, like back in 2018, 2019, that wasn't really a thing. And I was like, oh shoot, it wasn't, was it?
Mm-hmm.
That was like yesterday.
But it's wild how fast these things change. And then people feel like they can't keep up, right?
Yes.
Like this person over here is made a name for themselves because they've shown their face and they're showing up online, which is something that's really scary for a lot of people.
I think it's scary even if it's something that comes to you relatively naturally. Like me and you were talking about this a couple minutes ago before we got on here, of like this idea of both of us amping up on YouTube, and the idea that there's nobody to talk to. Like, you can put me on a stage in front of hundreds of people. I can talk all day long because I can ask the audience questions. There's energy to move from, but it's just me staring at this blue light on this camera. Like, it's not the same energy as talking to you. And I think, you know, not to scare anybody who this is your first time getting on camera, like that is why we have Sarah here for you. But as somebody who is used to being on stages, being behind cameras, all that jazz, there is still a little bit of fear that shows up when it's just me. And so the work that you do is incredible in that way. But what is your advice that you're typically giving out for folks who don't have necessarily the same level of skill as you and I hold for getting on camera?
Mhm. Yeah, the crazy thing is everybody says the same thing. Even the people who are really, really comfortable on stage, they all have the same insecurities about it. It's repetition. That's really what it is. You put in enough practice with it and you start to feel better. You start to critique your voice less. You start to actually like the way you look on camera. You start to notice little tweaks that you've made, improvements that you made, kind of like that iteration that you've done over time. And you start to notice growth. And I think that's one of the coolest things about showing up, having a personal brand, showing up online, having this whole library of evidence of you growing, I think is pretty amazing. That's more the internal thing. I think most people want to get on video so that they can attract clients, right? Or build trust, but there's an internal thing going on too. And I think that's pretty amazing.
I 100% agree. Like when I think of that internal piece, I used to have to put on my makeup to get on any type of video, anything, and like make sure my hair was done. And now I'm like, yep, I know this is a pajama shirt. You don't know this is a pajama shirt. We're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Um, and just accepting, what I look like, what I sound like. I am one of those people who cannot stand the sound of their recorded voice, yet others tell me differently. I'm going to stick on all of your stories on that, not my own personal ones. And it's just I love that you pointed out that it's the same across the board. It is honestly for lack of a better term, the nitpicking that we do of ourselves that we are judging. And it's a very interesting concept.
It is. And I think it should make people maybe feel better about it, knowing that we all do it. It's not a uniquely you problem, but I think we all think that. So we'll be sitting there trying to record our first thing. And if we're sitting by ourselves, like you said, you have nobody's energy to play off of. So sitting by yourself recording is one of the most self-critiquing. It is awful. And I've had a lot of people send me DMs, people who I've already had some sort of professional relationship with them. So they feel comfortable telling me this, but they'll say, I'll always ask, how did it feel? And if they come to me and say, yeah, I recorded for the first time, I say, how did it feel? And usually there's some form of, well, I hated it, but, or I was looking at the camera thinking how awful I looked, but I did it. And so, you kind of just have to work through those initial phases. I think that the cringe factor, cringe towards ourself, right, is kind of the ticket to entry. Like that's the ticket to ride, right? If you want to show up online, you're going to have to go through that gross feeling in the beginning.
The gross feeling. I
The
feel like
gross
need
feeling.
to name it something like
Yeah, there should be a name for, we
yeah.
just say cringe, but I'm sure there's something cool we could call it. But I do think that you're going to feel more cringe about yourself than other people are going to feel cringe about you. I think that's the fear, is that somebody's going to be a troll or come along and say how awful you are. And that just doesn't happen. You're putting yourself out there online. You're doing the big thing. Like you're winning in this equation if somebody ever has anything mean to say, which it just doesn't happen. not,
I
on,
want
not on the platforms I'm on.
I once ran an ad and somebody like totally trolled me in the comments on the
Oh, the
ad.
ads are bad. Yeah. The ads, because the ads cast a wider net than the people that know you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I celebrated. I think I bought cupcakes that day and I was
Oh, look at
with my
that.
son and I was like, Mom, we got a troll. She made it online. Like, I'm a big deal.
It's official.
It's official. I was
It's
trolled.
official. I'm famous online. Someone hated my work. Was that Instagram or?
It was it was Facebook that
Mm. Well,
was
that should
really
tell you why.
Oh,
That should
that
tell you
speaks volumes, doesn't it?
speaks
Like,
volumes. Yes.
if it's happening on Facebook, you can almost guarantee that it's not the trolls that you saw on Trolls Band Together, y'all. It's
No, it's
1000%
not
the
the
kind that
nice
lives under a
trolls.
bridge. Um,
And Facebook used to be such a lovely place for us as millennials. I mean, it started when I was in college. I was a freshman in college and it came out and I was like, oh, how cool. I got an invite, a personal invite, because you had to send, I think, the email address and it had to be a college email.
yep.
But in the beginning, it was invite only because there were only 10 schools on, and I happened to be in one of those schools. So I had a friend that went to Boston University. So that was one of the original schools, because Harvard is where it started, Boston area. So they were like, oh, let's invite the people across the street at the other school. And then it kind of expanded from there. So I was pretty early on, and it
Oh
was
my
just a great
gosh.
place to be. I remember when you could put your dorm number on there, but then we realized that was not a good idea.
Yeah, not we weren't exactly
It was very small. It was inner circle. It was not what it is today.
oh, 1000. So I'm just a little bit younger than you. So
Mm-hmm.
I got Facebook like my junior or senior year of high school.
Yeah.
So a couple years later,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember like it was just like an ongoing like running total of what our day was.
Yeah.
Like, it
How are
was
you feeling right now? What
yeah,
is your current status? And that was kind of the trope, was your current thought. What are you currently thinking? And you
what are you
just,
doing?
almost like what Twitter ended up being in the late 2000s, a few years later.
Um and it was such a beautiful time. I mean, YouTube did kind of exist during this time, and we had Vine. You remember that bad boy?
Mm-hmm. I never
Where
got on it though. I felt too old for it by the time it hit its
I was
stride.
never on it. I just remember the famous videos that came from it, but I was
Yeah.
weirdly never
Oh,
on
for
it.
sure. Yeah.
Which is funny for a theater choir kid who also did cheer and dance. Like I should have been on Vine, but I don't know why. You had to have bought a camera. That was part of the deal. And same thing with YouTube before YouTube was bought by Google. But when we think about like these moments of it was just how we just said what we were doing, it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like going live on YouTube, LinkedIn, just going live in general. Insert your social media here at this point, friends. But now instead of just like typing it, it's now saying like, look at my face as I tell you how I feel about this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a more vulnerable way of putting your feelings out there versus typing it like we used to. This is such an interesting conversation when you're with somebody who's your
Yeah.
age and we can like think back to how things
Yeah.
used to be.
I
Um
love it. Nostalgia.
it is. It's just remember our Motorola flip phones and T9 texting? It was time.
Yes, I love T9 texting. Actually, I didn't. That was way too time consuming.
Do you have like thumb like tendonitis from
Yes, I remember
choo choo
that
choo choo
being a
choo?
big deal. Yes.
Oh man, I don't even know if I hold that skill anymore. Maybe we could have like T9 texting, like challenges to see if anybody can still do it.
So funny story. At my birthday a few months ago, it was a 1999 themed party. And so everything was Y2K fashions, wear your Y2K fashions. We'll do some trivia and other games. And one of the first games that we played, I brought the games because I was like, I'm theming this thing up, down, and
I love
sideways.
it.
So
I would have
I
been here
did,
for it.
yes, I did a T9 texting trivia where everyone had to decode it. They could look at their phone, they could look at the keypad, and I would call out different numbers. Okay, it's a 2-word phrase, and the first word is, 583. The second word is whatever it is. And they said it was hard, but they got it. Like, they got almost every single one. So there was only one that I think was a little bit more difficult.
Oh my goodness,
It was a lot of fun.
I think that's way too much fun. My grandma turned 75 this year, so we threw a decade party. And my mom was like, "You need to dress the way the decade that you were born." And I was like, "Why? Everybody's dressed like it's the 90s today. I don't want to dress like it's the 90s. Like that's just putting on
Not
clothes."
retro enough.
So I pulled out everything from high school and went to Goodwill to buy a denim mini skirt. And I kid you not, Sarah, um, I wore that like a North Face zip up, cheetah print high heels, found old purple eyeshadow that everybody please throw away that makeup. It probably wasn't my best idea. I did not get pink eye though. And then that MAC lip gloss that was clear that like attached all nastiness in your handbag. And I still
Yeah,
had like this Coach print like bucket bag.
I
And
love
I wore a belt that had no functionality other than being around my hips.
it. So you're doing mid to late 2000s?
Yeah, it was perfect. It was, my
I
sisters were
love
like,
that.
this is
I'm
exactly
ready
how,
for that to come back in.
I can't wait. I also had like a Snooki puff. Like it
Mhm. I'm ready because it's
was
so
like,
gaudy and over the top, and I love it.
I told everybody I can't wait till it looks like we are dressed like we work for HR in the club again. I'm just literally counting
Yes.
days.
Or like we're on MTV's Jersey Shore.
Oh my God. I can't wait. It was a very
It was a
freeing time.
simple time in
Yes.
retrospect. I think I realized that at the time too. I was already in my 20s by then, but I was early 20s working, and I didn't want to be working. I knew that I did. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to have a paycheck, all that. But I also knew that I lived in Florida at the time, and all my friends were at the beach because they were still going to school, or maybe they had like a part-time job, whatever it was. This was also like right after the Great Recession. So some people didn't have a job. It was the whole thing. I was thankful to have a job, but all my friends were at the beach, or they were on a boat, or they were doing fun things. And I'm sitting in this gray, stale cubicle, ugly. It's just not the scene I want to be looking at. And I'm in a computer all day. And I now look back at that and think, how simple was that time? I never took work home. We never were given work cell phones. We never had expectations of working past 5 p.m. or whatever your schedule was. Obviously, we have chosen a different path because we're, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs. We are 24 hours.
We are brave women, is what we're gonna say. We're
We
brave
are
women.
we're putting ourselves through the gauntlet here, but it was a simpler time back then. You know what I miss? Going forward a little bit, like early 2010s, hipster music, a little bit of that like different, expression. I just loved hipster music. It wasn't my thing. I
Instagram
never was.
just came out.
Instagram just came out. You wanted to be like quirky enough where you were not mainstream, but you really were mainstream because you liked all the trends.
That's my boyfriend in a nutshell. I still make fun of him. So I live in Portland, Oregon,
Mhm.
like the
Oh
home
yeah,
of
so
the
you were
hipster.
right in it.
I'm in it. I'm in the hipster, like everybody has a beanie and a plaid and only drinks coffee from this small coffee shop.
Yeah.
I want to tell you guys that that's a lie that television made up. It's actually not. And but I remember that so vividly. And now, we think of content creators, and I cannot tell you, and I wouldn't be shocked if you follow like the same people as me from a nostalgia standpoint, of how many creators from when we were younger that now just like relive what life was like before the cameras.
Mhm.
And it is comical to like see all these things that me and you were talking about that are just so, they inspire how we do business today. I don't think that either of us can like get around it. I mean, we were talking about Chevron brand earlier. But it is interesting to think about the fact that we are 1000% like smack dab. There's 5 years between us. Smack dab in that age where we definitely grew up without these things. That was not what we did. Our parents had no control of where we were when we were 8 years old. We just showed up when we were supposed to show up. And to now, my 9-year-old cannot blink without me having a tracker on him. So it's wild how these instances kind of pull into how we show up on camera. Because if you think about it, we never had to be on camera until we were adults. And when we're adults, we now all have big egos, whereas my son can hop on a camera without blinking because that's a normal state.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that I started noticing that. Well, I have a few things to say, but I started noticing that when I noticed that the younger generation knew how to pose for photos. And I was like, where are they learning that? They're just picking this up by osmosis. We did the sorority hand on hip. Even if you weren't in a sorority, that was just the thing that you did,
Arm pose.
the typical pose. And and bending your knees or whatever. Like if it was a big group photo, it was just that stereotypical thing. And I think Instagram started that, as these platforms change and evolve, I think kids, their whole lives probably are lived online or as much as their parents let them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're learning it when their brain is still a sponge, whereas we've lived our whole lives not knowing these things we have to learn as an adult, which is a lot harder.
Yes.
We're more set in our ways. But yeah, going back to some of the earlier platforms or just no platforms, I definitely was using, like a friend's parents' camcorder to do projects for school. We would have to do maybe like once a year, we would have to do something that was recorded, like a creative project. I do remember a few of them. One of them was we had to come up with a fake product and advertise it. And so we came up with this kids toothpaste and we had to come up with a fake TV ad. So we filmed the whole thing. We scripted the whole thing, filmed the whole thing. We were 12. It was in the late 90s. It was great. But that was because our teacher told us to do that. I think there were a few choices we had, but that was like one of the ones we wanted to do because one of the people in the group had a dad with a camcorder. Cool. Not everybody had a camcorder.
True.
And then I think we maybe like experimented a little bit. I know I wanted to be on MTV's Fanatic. I don't know if you remember that show. It was
I do remember that
late 90s,
show.
early 2000s. Yeah, this was 99. I was actually too young. I found this out after I filmed it. I was too young to submit the application. You had to be at least 15 or something like that. And so I never sent it in, but I do have the film, not the film, the tape. It's in my house. But the thing is, it's a tape from a camcorder, so you have to put it in a little adapter, and I don't have those pieces of equipment. So there were little bits of my history when I look back where I was definitely getting on camera with no problems. MTV's Fanatic, I was submitting for NSYNC because I loved NSYNC. And yeah, so basically I was too young to do it and too young to actually qualify, but I was talking about my love for NSYNC and just going on and on and on in this little audition video. And it was really cute, but that was just me being me. I don't think I was worried about the camera. I was probably 13 or 14 at the time. I think at a certain point, maybe we developed this kind of, we have to be perfect on camera. And maybe that was because of the platforms, because it was more public. I think when you have like a project at school or even at work when you're older, someone's telling you to do that. There's a bigger reason that you're doing it. Whereas I think maybe a lot of people feel the pressure to be online or their face to be online, but they don't really know the bigger reason. And I think, it might sound cliche, but your why is really important, right? Like, why would you get on video? Well, maybe. And you want to ask why multiple times. Why do you want to get on video? Well, I want to be visible. Why do you want to be visible? Well, I want to be in front of the right people. Why do you want to be in front of the right people? Because I want the right clients. Why do you want the right clients? So you can make money. Like, it's all these things that lead to each other.
And why is money important to you?
Yes. And then you can go real deep because there's probably some psychological things there.
Always.
Always. Yes.
So no, and I love that you put that, like, they do take things in by osmosis. As somebody who has a little kid, my son seems to think I'm famous because he sees my YouTube videos.
I
I'm
love
not going to
that.
correct him. I think
Right.
somebody needs to put that into the universe. But it's very interesting because he'll pop on. He wants to be on my TikTok channel. It's really funny. So there's a lot of things in my drafts on TikTok because I'm very protective of my kiddo and electronics. But he's the first to be like and subscribe. Like, no, mom, let's re-record that. Like, he's unfazed. And it takes a lot of work for an adult to get to that point of unfazed. And I'm sure that you could speak on this so deeply from having done corporate learning that teaching adults is not the same as teaching little kids. I've coached children for years, from coaching cheer and helping coach some of Grayson's sports. Coaching boys and girls is vastly different, everybody. Just gonna let you know that up front. But then I coach adults too, like beyond doing branding, I'm also coaching business, and I am bringing in friends to talk to some of those business owners in the spaces that I am not as strong in. And adults overcomplicate shit, everybody. I cannot, like, the younger a kid is, the easier it is to teach them something. Like I can teach a 5-year-old how to do a back handspring in like the span of a week. Teaching a teenager to do a back handspring, not so much. Depends on their mindset. Teaching an adult how to do a back handspring, they're going to grill me on, is this safe? How do you do this? Why do you do it this way? And they will overthink and have a higher chance of getting hurt. Now, bring that to business. Somebody will bring me a complicated problem. And Sarah, I'm sure you've probably actually experienced this in some degree. They'll give me a complicated problem and I go, well, it's not that complicated. Do X, Y, Z. And they're like, but. And I was like, well, have you done it? No,
But what?
but what? Like, go do this for 10 days and come back to me. It's
Right.
not that hard. We make it really hard. So when you think about teaching adults from a corporate learning perspective and now moving into getting adults onto camera and comfortable with that, where do you see, outside of feeling like everybody feels cringe when they film for the first time, where do you start to see some of those hangups show up?
Yeah, definitely in the mindset. So almost my entire career has been taking people from knowing nothing to being proficient. So I did a lot of new hire where I had people completely new to the company, knowing nothing about the company except what they learned in their application and interview process, and then coming in and me taking them under their wing for 2 weeks or whatever it was, depending on the company. And then getting them ready, and not only ready, but believing in themselves. And I think that's such a huge piece, especially with video. So if you want to compare the two, definitely believing in yourself. So I think of 3 different buckets. I think of mindset, skill set, and tool set. And I think this is something that comes from corporate learning. I don't know, I'm sure it was some theory back in the day that people are still talking about, but mindset, in my mind, if you can't get past the mindset, it doesn't matter what the skills are, what the tools are. And I think in the corporate world, you can definitely see that set. But in camera world or digital world, you have a lot of people asking the wrong questions in my mind first,
Ooh,
right off the bat.
we're putting a pin
So,
in that.
okay, yeah, I can tell you the most common questions that I get for people who want or are curious about getting on video, but they're not ready. They will ask, what's the best lighting I can get? Okay, well, you don't need the best lighting. You're brand new. What is the best app for editing? Why are you even thinking of editing? You've never even hit the record button. And I want to make sure that the mindset is right, because I feel like the worries and the thing, like you said, the hangups they're misplaced. They really are misplaced. I think if you can get on camera and just do like a really crappy version of a video, congratulations, you got on video. That is way better than what I used to do. And all this comes from a place of love, because I was once there where I was overthinking. And like I said, I've been on camera when I was younger with no problems. And then I did it in my corporate career and my consulting, no problems. It's when you start to do it to the public and no one's telling you to do it. You're doing it on your own accord because you want to be seen. It's like all of a sudden you're recording by yourself and you're like, well, what if it doesn't look right? What if it's not perfect? What if my lighting sucks? What if my hair doesn't look good? Nobody cares. Just film that first one and let that Band-Aid rip off. You don't even have to post it. You can delete it if you really wanted to. But that'll get you in the mindset. And I go through a warm-up process with a lot of clients where I have them do throwaway videos, and they could post them if they want, of course. But the whole purpose is to show you the different types of videos that you can create and how it feels. And also say, oh my gosh, I went through the motions of creating a video. It may not be perfect and it shouldn't be. It's your first one, but I did it. Then you can move on to the other things. Then you can think about editing once you've done a few. You don't need that in the beginning. But that's what people are focused on, is editing, lighting, equipment, the skills and the tools. That's what they're focused, mostly the tools. But I don't think that's actually the issue.
No, it's overcompensating for something else. It's avoiding what they truly
Yes.
have going on in the background of their subconscious.
Yeah.
And it is interesting, I would say, as 2 women sitting here talking to all of you who literally spend their time teaching adults, regardless of the vehicle. At the core, that's what we're doing. And you're right. It's always on like, what are the tools, or like, how do I do this thing? And I'm always like, wait, you haven't even put the key in the ignition. You haven't even unlocked the car.
And
So go for it.
one thing that kind of made me want to help people get on video in the first place, because I was already talking on LinkedIn and I was doing video for corporate learning for a while. And that was kind of the thing I was talking about, was how do we make corporate learning more fun? How do we reach the younger audience? How do we reach the employees that are 18 to 25 years old and they're in a retail store environment or something? They're not going to want to do like a stuffy classroom trade. That's not for them. Let's know the generations. Let's know what works today. So I was doing a lot with that, but I started meeting a lot of small business owners. And this is what made me make this shift. Was I was seeing a lot of people talk about video, but way up here, like, here's how to edit. Here's why your videos suck. Why are we even saying that people's videos suck? They're supposed to when you're brand new at it. And there was just nobody filling in that gap from step 0 to step 1. It was like everybody was a little bit more advanced that was talking about video. And I said, I know a lot of small business owners and I know how great they are and how brilliant they are and all the great things that they have to offer to the world, but they are afraid to come out and say that live or at least recorded. They put it in words, in typed, text form, and that's about it. And that may not be enough in this next iteration of the world that we're stepping into. I hate to say it because I know that, back in the day, we could have a Twitter account and the Twitter account could earn us clients just by people being familiar with us online. And I think with AI and just we crave human interaction and realness.
I was about to say that. You just are pulling the words out of my brain as you're saying them. There's no way you can avoid it, I don't think. And that's why I think having you on the Luxe Leap is so powerful right now, is as we move into AI is now the norm. It is a part of our lives. It is unescapable, it's unavoidable. And if you're still avoiding it at this point, well, congratulations. You have officially signed yourself up as somebody who is not an early adopter, and you need to face that in the mirror because it holds you back. But that's your own personal journey. Have fun with that moment. We're moving on. So when you think about it, video is how we're going to be able to tell if you're real or not. And you're going to face some things. I have a really funny story about how people seem to think I'm a catfish. Yeah, it's actually hands down comical, and you'll appreciate every moment of this story here in a second. But having video shows you how people interact as humans and like, can I trust you? Because at this point, almost anything can be written by AI. You can train your AI to sound like you if you know how to. Go watch Erica Stanley's podcast episode. We talked a lot about AI and how that can help your brand. But I laugh because, we now also, you can avoid video if you want and have an AI brand bot and whatever. You remember the days of Tinder, Sarah?
Yes, I'm familiar. Catfish story.
Yeah. And remember that one football player who was getting catfish and catfishing became like a big thing to the point that
Yeah.
MTV had a TV show?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know. Okay. I was definitely in my era of like, I work. And I worked in a big city where I could not afford cable. So I was not watching TV, but I had a cell phone that could have Tinder. And I was in a park with my girlfriends and they were both like going through Tinder matches. And I was not interested. Fun fact, everybody, I care less. But I felt left out. And it was a very hot summer in Seattle. And so I was like, whatever, I'll just like start this account. So I start the account, upload some photos. And I remember my bio said, only swipe right if you have a boat. Otherwise, I'm not interested. Like so blunt. Like, I will be your friend. I will sit on your boat. Like, you're welcome. I'm hot. Here you go.
Yeah.
And the amount of messages I got back that were like, can you take a picture with a spoon? Can you take a picture with an apple? Can you prove that you're real? So all the time. So the beginning of October, I decided I was going to go live on YouTube and TikTok 5 days a week for the entire month. Something not so great in my life happened that I couldn't, but I was pretty like on it. And when the very first days that I go live, one of the comments is like, is this a video bot? Is this person real? And I was like, What is it about me that people don't think I'm real?
Whether to be offended or
Kind of.
is that a good thing? Like, you look so polished that they you're like, wow, I
So,
look airbrushed and polished today.
I mean, I have really good cameras, but
Yeah.
I'm allowed to upgrade to tools, y'all. I've put in the work to
Yes,
do
you've
the
put in the
throwaways.
work.
Um, but I just laugh because I think that video is going to have such a big impact of showing if we are real people or not. And honestly, that was day one, so I probably did
Mhm.
come off hyper polished because I was scared.
True.
And that is my default when I'm not comfortable. If you guys listen to the first episode of Luxe Leap to this episode, you have a much more relaxed version of me. And it it just makes me laugh because what do you have to say to the people who know they need to be on video, but they're going to try to cut corners by doing a bot of themselves?
Oof. Mostly just that that's not the way to build trust. I think it's gimmicky. I think it's cutesy. I think there's nothing wrong with those tools existing necessarily, but it depends on your business. I think the only people that I've seen that do the bot or the avatar thing well are the people who are selling the avatar. So they're the ones saying, just do an avatar, no big deal. See, I'm doing it. And there's accounts like that, and I'm sure they're making a lot of money playing to people's fears by saying, you don't have to show up. Just show up like me. Create an avatar. It's still you. It's just an AI version of you. I just feel like it erodes trust. And I think that's going to be more and more important as time goes on. It might be semi important right now because we're not seeing it as a threat. It's more like I said, gimmicky. It's like, oh, ha, 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 we can tell the difference. But what happens when we can't tell the difference, or when it's everywhere, or when you get on a call with somebody that you've never met and you look nothing like they imagined, and now they don't trust your work because they don't know if you created it or if somebody else created it or if it's AI generated. I think people are going to be really disappointed if that happens, because there's still going to be that sort of uncanniness where that is not real, this is real. Our brains are going to be sorting this for a while.
I love that answer. I think that it really truly helps kind of give scope as to why that's not the best option when you are building trust. And I mean, it's kind of like why they say you have to update your headshot all the time.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't look the same as I did this time last year. Um, do I still look like me? Yeah. But there's probably a deeper wrinkle here
Yeah, little things
somewhere.
change.
Like, I can promise you that well, my skin tone changes depending on what season we're in. So I have not seen the sun as much as I would like right now, as compared to last year's November photos. But like, these AI bots are gonna capture you where you were in that moment. So let's just give like the realist example. If you were really thin and then you gained weight for whatever reason, but we just saw a bot of you and you let it be you, and now you look 20 pounds different, I would just sit there confused, and your
Mhm.
brain would short circuit on trust. And that's just a very tangible, like, easy thing to explain.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like when you hop on a call with somebody from LinkedIn and their photo is from when they were 30 years old and now they're 55. Like, they're not the same. And you don't know. You sometimes, depending on how people change, you might look at them and be like, are you even the same person? Are you their sibling? Like, what is happening here? And so, not to cast judgment, if you need to gain weight, like, please do. I don't care. If you're older, like, please age gracefully. I firmly believe in that, but I'm avoiding Botox like the plague. But one day I will need it, probably for my migraines. That's not to judge your choices. It's just to say, like, those are tangible things that we can see as examples in real time, in real life. And I love AI. So this is not me saying don't use it. It's just saying, like, know when it's building trust, helping you build trust, versus when it's not helping you build trust. And video is
Correct.
not going to be the place.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there are going to be tools or little functionality that maybe help us do it faster or better, or little accessories, but it still needs to be us. And I feel like that's the human connection. And I hear people talking about this all the time. And I do get asked this question quite a bit. And I think people are always pleased to hear that answer. It's almost a relief that they don't have to sort of keep up with the AI video avatar thing. You definitely don't. But I do think, going back to a couple of things you've said about like a delay tactic or deflection, distraction, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well, I only have to do this half version of it. I don't actually have to show up as myself. I can just upload my photo and then the rest can just do it for me. And that sounds great in theory if you're someone who's afraid to get on camera. But like we've also been saying, what's going to happen when you get on a call with somebody and you are now nervous to meet them because you know that A and B don't look alike at all.
Anymore.
I don't get nervous to get on calls with people these days because I know that they know me and I know that I'm showing up as the same person I am online. And I know that even if I've never seen any of their stuff, because sometimes, especially, we know clients are mostly lurkers. So it's usually somebody who's been following me for a while and I may not know them. I definitely research them in advance, but I may not know them or have interacted with them much. I may just know their name, not even their face. But I'm not nervous showing up because I know I'm me and they know me. And that, I think, is such a turning point that a lot of people don't consider about video. They're not thinking of that piece. They're just thinking of the vanity piece and the virality. I think a lot of us think in terms of TikTok or Instagram, which is fine. I love both of those apps. TikTok's very addicting, but we are used to scrolling through other people's videos and we're being shown the most viral of the videos on that platform. We're not being shown videos with 2 likes in most cases. We're not even seeing our friends' videos. We are seeing videos from people who are doing this all the time. Their skill level is high. They're getting a lot of attention. They're getting a lot of likes. And then we go post something maybe on a LinkedIn or wherever we try, and we don't get that same number because that's not what it's for. And we're also new at it. And then we start saying, well, video doesn't work for me because we tried it once and it didn't give us viral views. And I think that is a crazy expectation that I think a lot of people have.
It is a hilarious expectation that people have because it's so not real. And I had a friend who was just posting about this because she was saying, she was like, oh yeah, people are always like shocked when I say I don't care about how many followers I have because how many followers I have does not dictate like quality clients or anything of that nature. And it does not. And, you know, across all platforms, as of today, in this moment, including my email, I have 50,000 people who subscribe to me in some shape or form. That is a high number.
Yes, that's very good.
Some of my videos only get 10 views.
Yeah.
But it gets me clients, and
they know you.
Yeah. You know, and they do know me.
Mm-hmm.
You hopped on a call with me, and did it feel like you met anybody different? Like, it was just like,
exactly.
That was 1,000%. There was no gap. It was like, yeah, oh, okay. Well, here she is. Yeah. And it makes it easier because that trust exists. So whether you've seen a video of me or not, even written, I write like I talk. I got rid of that feeling of like writing like I'm trying to impress my English professor. And because I don't actually script everything out when I make videos. I give myself bullet points so I don't go off track because I'm ADHD and I will go off track. Just look at this episode, everybody, in case you need an example of what my brain feels like. We spent a good time talking about 1999. I say this all to say that it is important that you get those skills. And if we had to name this episode anything, it's about how to build trust in video and like being yourself in person. And sometimes you need that confidence. But when you start looking at those viral people's numbers, you start to compare yourself. And then that, again, I think I've said it like 100 different ways today. That is a mindset issue that you're going to have to start to pull yourself out of because you are looking at their day 652 and you're on day 1. That is not the same. I promise you their day 1 sucked. And some people delete their videos from day 1 once they actually have virality. So it looks like they've always been great.
I was thinking the exact same thing. If you sort, like on YouTube, you can sort by oldest instead of having to scroll back and Some of them will keep their old videos, and I think that's really cute for nostalgia purposes. But on an Instagram or a TikTok, a lot of, especially the people that are just constantly posting, you can't even scroll back that far. You'd be scrolling for days. You have no idea how they showed up in the beginning or how many people saw it at that moment, because now they've racked up, for the people who do scroll all the way back, they've racked up more views because it's all cumulative. If you still have those videos sitting there, somebody's still going to find them and watch them, most likely. So you don't know how many views it had in that moment. Yeah. 0, 1, 10 tops. That's it.
And then if you could look at their reporting, you could see like how many are individual views versus like somebody who's seen it
repeated. Exactly.
Your grandma could have watched it 10 times. She's my number one fan on Instagram.
There you go. I love that.
I think that out of what we're sharing right now, what Sara is sharing with all of you, that's super important to understand, is you have to start at 0 no matter what. And comparing yourself is only going to hold you back from lacking and will create a lack in confidence that honestly she's here to break down. Like she's your camera confidence coach. And so if you're feeling any of this, like levels of ick, that we have hinted at feeling at one point in time and also hinted at never really experiencing, because me and Sara are a rare breed of woman, okay? One's born in August, one's born in April. Just know that tells you a lot about who we are. I say all this to say, if you are scared or you're feeling all those things, like, can you please call her? Just stop what you're doing and just find her information. You can hit pause. We'll still be here. And look at the bottom, where I put all the show notes, where my team puts all the show notes. Thanks, y'all. Go click on her stuff and just say hi, because it's definitely something that you are going to need regardless of if this is 2025 when you're listening to this, 2026, 2027, 2028. This is not going away, and it's not going to go away. So how are you going to step up in that moment? Because the best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is right now. Okay, TED Talk over.
And one of my favorite things to do is support people who are new at this. Whether it's we just met yesterday or you just sent me a DM or we've known each other for months, whatever it is. If I see somebody trying video for the first time, you better believe I'm going to be the first person in their comments being like, oh, I love to see you on video. Look at you. Amazing. Like, I want people to feel good about themselves, because it is a scary thing at first.
Then you're over it.
And that's fine. Yeah, you're over it. But you can't let 6 months pass before your next one, because then you're scared again.
Oh, scared. It's actually, that is a true feeling of being like, God, I'm doing it again.
Just start back over.
But everybody else is doing so great. What about me? It's like,
which is not even true. It's so funny how some days I'm scrolling LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is just a positive platform. So people aren't typically sharing the negative. And some days, if I'm having a bad day, I'll scroll through there and I'm like, I'm done with LinkedIn. All y'all are too positive. But really, I'm a very positive person. So for me to say that is just, okay, I'm just having one of those days. But you scroll through and you're like, oh, I guess everyone's thriving here.
As somebody who's also very positive, I've done that too. I'm just being
it's normal. This is human behavior. We're not robots. We're not perfect. We try to be positive because that's just the world we want to live in. We want to live in a positive world, but that doesn't mean we don't experience negative. So yeah, on those negative days, I scroll through and I'm like, okay, that's enough LinkedIn for today.
Pause on that one and just move into my own
scrolling.
Now let me move over to TikTok and wonder why I'm not famous yet.
Right, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
You didn't start in 2020 or 2021. That's probably the answer.
Like, that's not how you spent your COVID? Shame on you.
Yeah, I did not. I was still too afraid of putting myself out there on camera. I did start my experimentation with my own videos started in 2021 on Instagram. And I'm like, well, maybe I should have done TikTok, because I feel like that was still the glory days of TikTok. But listen, anyone can grow on any platform. It's just that there was a very short window where people went extremely viral. And I think a lot of us are perplexed by that. And we look at that thinking, well, we have amazing things to share too. But like we've also said, it's not about virality. I think there's a downside to that too. I mean, some of these people have to deal with serious trolls and really nasty stuff too.
I think there's a dark side to all things. And you're going to grow at the pace that you can naturally hold that.
Mhm.
Because as you grow, there are going to be people who do not like you. And as you grow, you're only going to grow to a point in which you can handle that. And when you can get comfortable with that again, you can grow a little bit more until, I am somebody who I really don't care what anybody says about me anymore. Like, it makes me laugh. When people do have something funny to say, like if a troll comes my way, I'm going to be like, so do you have a jeweled belly button? Like, how's it going down? Or I will flip it back to them, and I'm super sassy. And I think somebody was trolling me the other day in LinkedIn comments, Sarah, on a post that wasn't mine.
On LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn. I do get the sassy ones on LinkedIn.
That is rare. That is a
Mhm.
rare situation.
It was very, very comical. And then this person, it was about AI, and they're like, it doesn't think for you. And I was like, okay, everybody, I've reread what I said, and at no point did I say that AI
We were not
thinks for me.
saying that.
Like,
Right.
not even once was that written in this comment. And so I finally said, I've spoken a lot about this topic. If you just type in my whole name into Google and hit videos, I'm sure you can find some about it. Have fun. Like, one of us is the expert here, and it's not you. Go away.
Yeah.
So it's, you get better at it. But to everything that we've been saying about from step 0 to step 1, you first have to start. And then it'll happen. And then you'll realize in hindsight, it's actually kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
And you can move on. But you will only grow at the pace in which your body can handle that. And if you feel like you've been stuck at 200 followers on whatever platform, there's something about you that is afraid of the virality piece. Wow, speaking today. And that's something you're going to have to come to terms with, or like work with somebody who can help you through that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the honest truth, y'all. We move at the speed of trust, and that includes the trust of ourselves.
Very true. Mic drop.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see. Your team, if you could pull that one, that'd be great. We'll see. It'll actually be me saying, if you could pull that one. Me and Sarah are making jokes about the clips that get pulled off our videos. It's never our best.
Not always the best. Yeah, the one that I noticed. So for anyone that I tell this to clients too, so this is actually a proper place to say this. One of the tips that I give is if you're trying to get on camera for the first time, maybe look through some of the past footage that you might already have. Maybe you've been on a podcast before and that podcast host created a video for you or small videos for you. Or maybe the whole thing is hosted on YouTube somewhere. Or maybe you were, in a classroom somewhere and they filmed you. Chances are you've got some footage of you speaking and you can maybe utilize that in the beginning. But yeah, one of the things I would say a gold mine for content is if you've ever been a guest on a podcast, that you can get so many videos from that. And I always give that piece of advice. However, if you are not the one pulling the videos yourself, you may not love the videos because they do seem to pick. I think it's the tools too, because the tools sometimes pick for you. And one time I was on a podcast and I had just got this camera or this laptop, and the camera was following me and the camera went up all of a sudden. And that's the one they chose because I'm sure the tool said, oh, there's an inflection point right here. Like something happened right here. Yeah, it was my camera going haywire.
Oh my
And that's the short form video that got to be the icon of the podcast episode.
Oh my goodness.
So it's great though. I didn't have to record anything. I still used it.
We're recording on Riverside, everyone, which is a tool that does video and video podcasting and podcasting in general. And if you've ever used Riverside and you click on the people tab where it shows like whoever's in the call, it will capture your photo in the beginning. And I'm here to tell you, it is never, ever, ever a good photo.
Ooh, what's my hair doing?
What am I doing? Like, I'm over here, like, looks
I
like
can
I'm
only
trying to.
see mine.
I look like I'm about to take a bite of food. I don't even know what's happening.
Oh yeah.
Anywho, I say all this to say you get really, really like cool with it just being awkward. I think it might have been my very first podcast that I was ever on. I didn't know it was going to be on YouTube. And me and this person are good friends now. She actually
Mhm.
is one of our earlier episodes, but I'm not going to tell you her name for the sake of not embarrassing her for this. Did not tell me that it was going to be on video. This is 2020. I don't have a desk in my house yet because I was so used to going to work.
Mhm.
Um, I had just gotten out of the shower. I had like thrown on the first shirt I could find because I was late, which happened to be one of my boyfriend's white t-shirts. And my hair is soaking wet. And it is on YouTube. And I'm literally like by the end of it, and I'm having a serious conversation about um, being mixed and what that means from a marketing and business standpoint and George Floyd. And I am literally looking like I belong in a MTV spring break white t-shirt contest. So I promise you all, nothing can be worse than that. So just do it, please. Just
Yeah,
go for gold
do
and
it.
get on video.
Yeah, just do it. And yes, you will. There will be clips that you don't like because also, like we're looking at ourselves right now, but it's going to be flipped and going to look different on the third. I think it's always flipped. I don't know.
Always
Regardless,
flip.
the camera's always flipped, and then it's like, oh, now I'm looking at something that doesn't look like my mirror image, and you just get used to it. It's like the voice thing. I don't like my recorded voice either, but whatever. I'm gonna have to show up, and I'm not gonna change it. So
Right?
it is what it is.
It's just you get used to it. So if you guys learn nothing else from us today,
Hmm.
time makes everything easier when done consistently.
Time, practice, and accepting yourself. It's a hard one.
That one. The hardest one of them all is accepting
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, everybody, it's a special episode. You got us for double the amount of time, but is it a
We're
Luxe
talkers.
episode? We are talkers. We could go for 2 hours if y'all would let us. We would be an interesting duo to listen to live. I'm not gonna
Oh yeah.
lie.
Oh yeah.
We should do that sometime. Okay,
We
see
should.
what I mean? ADHD. In the Luxe Leap episode, if I don't ask our two favorite questions, which
Mm.
is, what does a day living a luxurious life look like for you?
Ooh, a realistic one or an imagined one?
Any kind you want.
Oh gosh. I will say before I took the leap from corporate, I always just simply wanted to walk to a coffee shop in the mornings. That was so time luxury to me.
Yes.
That was the ultimate in I don't have anywhere to be. My work will be there. I create my own schedule, all that. And I do that these days, which is amazing. But back then, that was something that I really, really wanted and couldn't have because I had to get in a car and go commute. So, ultimate day, walking to a coffee shop, getting outdoors. Oh my goodness. We are so addicted to our electronics. So, yes, going to my coffee shop, spending some time there. No, like ultimate time freedom. To me, that is luxe. Like having all the time in the world to be able to do all the things I want to do and not worrying or being rushed. That's that's the main thing.
That sounds like a breath of fresh air. Like there's no alarm clocks. It's
Yes.
just when I feel
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
money still makes its way here. Like,
Yes. And everything else is just details. But as long
yeah.
as I have that, I think freedom is just such a big thing for me. Time freedom, financial freedom, which is something we're all trying to attain, right? So, yeah.
Oh, I love it. It's so beautifully simple of like, I just want to be able to walk
Cozy.
there.
I just
Like,
want to walk to a coffee shop. And
no rush.
I will say, my little walks, they're not little, they're almost 2 miles, but it's 2 miles there, 2 miles back. But I am passing people on the sidewalk. I'm saying hi. It's like it feels like a Hallmark movie in a way. So to me, I tell a lot of my friends that I like to romanticize my life. I like to pretend like I'm in a movie. It's almost delusional in a way, but whatever. It makes me feel good. It makes me optimistic or stay optimistic. Maybe if it's not such an optimistic day, I can pretend like it is.
There's a happy
So my
ending.
little Hallmark movie.
Oh my
What was
goodness.
that?
Like,
Yeah.
just like it's gonna have a happy ending. Like Cinderella had a
Yeah.
moment where it was shit. Okay, everybody?
Yes.
So bad days are just that moment where your stepsisters are ripping off the dress you spent hours making.
Exactly.
Um, you gotta love it. All right, last
Mhm.
one, best one. In
Yes.
one
Yes.
word, what is your motivation in business?
Hmm. Impact. Impact is a huge motivator of mine anyway. Do you want the explanation or just the one word
Of
without
course
the
I do. It was
explanation?
killing me not to say why because it's
Because
the
you know
last
I
one,
like to
best one.
talk.
I know, I need it.
Impact. I mean, that's just such a motivator for me already. Like if I could see a transformation that somebody takes and I know that I was part of that, that's huge for me. So, I mean, and that's been my entire career. I'm taking people from knowing nothing to being able to do it on their own without me. And that's pretty amazing.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I love this so much, Sarah. Sarah, how can they find you?
LinkedIn for now. I am expanding to YouTube in 2026. Woohoo! Amazing. But LinkedIn is my home base for now. So I'm sure you'll put it in the show notes because LinkedIn kind of has like /in/ I won't do that to y'all and have you type it out. You could just click it from the show notes.
I
But that's
love
where
it.
I post multiple times a week.
I love it. She really does, everybody. We're both there. We live in our LinkedIn worlds and it's a beautiful place. Like we said, it's a positive place,
Yes.
even when you're not feeling positive. Oh
Right.
my goodness. I love it. Well, everyone, if today's episode has you rethinking how you're showing up and you're ready for a brand that actually turns heads, I'd love to invite you to book your Brand Muta Brand Breakthrough. It's my video deep dive audit that helps you see exactly what's working, what's not, and what needs to shift to attract your champagne clientele. So you can grab your spot at graydigitalmktg.co/Bermuda-review. Also below Sarah's information in the show notes. I know that for a fact. And start turning clarity into confidence because let's be honest, vanilla opinions don't pop bottles and we need to start showing up as ourselves. So, everybody, it has been so beautiful spending this time with you, with Sarah, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this episode. So, stay safe, live a beautiful life, and honestly, just go out there and do the damn thing. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.